Welcome back to the Lisbonian Lifestyle. I'm your host, Igor Kafetz, and today I've got a really special guest. It's Kyle from Clickbank. I have no idea what Kyle does for Clickbank aside from being their podcast host and somebody who's got his fingers in all the pies. So I felt it'd be really cool to bring him out on the Lisbonian Lifestyle and pick his brain about what it takes to manage a JV affiliate program. Basically, how to attract the best partners, how to keep the best partners, and how to make sure they actually go promoting. So today's episode is going to be all about that. So if you are an affiliate marketer and you're on the other side of that, I think you're going to learn quite a few things. And if you're a vendor, if you're somebody with a product and you're either got an affiliate program that isn't really going anywhere, or you're thinking about starting one, then you're going to find a lot of value in this episode. Kyle, welcome to the List Building Lifestyle.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me, Igor. It's great to be here. Great to talk to your audience. And I would say define what I do at Clickbank, but I can't figure that out. And my wife she just says I do accounting, which is not what I do at all. So, and haven't done that for years, but she's just thought it was that was the easiest thing for her to remember. So I've just been an accountant for the last decade to my wife. So you're not the only one confused.
Yeah, but I see you everywhere, though. You've become the unofficial poster child for Clickbank in the last, I'd say, 2 years or so. There's obviously Thomas, but it kind of feels like he stepped away from the spotlight a bit, and now you're the main guy in the spotlight.
They brought me in. They said he's too good looking. We need somebody else, and so I was like, I could fill that role. So they need someone sub 6 foot, so it's less intimidating to talk to them in person.
Yeah, I remember reading a book about. Have you read Win Bigly?
No, I haven't.
It's about how Trump won the election against Hillary Clinton. And,
I knew that title sounded familiar. Yeah.
So there's a portion of that book. First off, an amazing persuasion book. Like if you're into persuasion, you should read it, especially the one to many persuasion, because it actually breaks down lots of Trump's tricks. You know, like the reason why he kept shouting that we need to build a wall. We need a wall, big wall, showing like wall, and all kinds of stuff like that. There's a lot of strategy to his perceived madness.
There is, yes.
So anyway, that book, it has a little portion that's devoted to his vice president. I think Mike Pence, I think was the name.
Yep, Mike Pence.
And
the fly. Can't forget the fly on Mike Pence's face during re-election time. That was the best.
Yeah, so they were discussing what's the protocol and criteria for picking the right vice president candidate. So you can't pick somebody who's obviously really bad because nobody want to vote for him, and you can't pick anyone who will outshine Trump or a main candidate, right? So you have to pick somebody who's right there in the middle. Not too good, not too bad, not too handsome, not too ugly. You know what I mean? And it feels like, that Thomas stepped out of the and they kind of brought you in.
Yeah, they brought in the vice president. Yeah.
You're the vice president of Clickbank now.
That sounds great.
Unofficial title.
All right. I love it. Well, and I guess one thing to build that'll be great for what you brought in today. I'd say the best way to find what I do now, because you're right, it's a lot of different things. I talked to a lot of different people. Learn a lot of different information, look at a lot of data on our end. But really, I've just become more of an affiliate consultant. So if you have affiliates or you'd like to use affiliates, it doesn't really matter what type of affiliates or what type of business you have. There's a good chance that I could recommend or advise you on the best way to do that or the best affiliate program to get started with. Because it is different. It's different for every single business, every single person, and every single offer. So just knowing the right things and pulling the right levers could help you succeed out of the gate. So, which I know we could talk about today, and hopefully get the listeners some value and some more affiliates by the end of this, or at least get more out of the affiliates they already have.
Oh yeah. And before we do that, I really want to do a bit of a, blow a little bit of a smoke up your ass. Yeah. Can you give us some numbers? It's really interesting. For example, how many affiliates under management does Clickbank have right now?
Ooh, boy. That's a moving number, and it always is defined by
or maybe a ballpark range.
yeah. No, I'm saying so. Like we have thousands of new signups on our platform every single day. So that people are signing up, creating an account. Of those that are actively managed, I can't give an exact number. I believe it's in the 5 to 6 figure range. I believe on active affiliates at a given time frame. And I think if you look at holistically the whole number, it's probably in the 7 figures of accounts that have had some sale within a defined period of time within the last say 12 to 18 months. So there's a lot there. As for who we would define as actively promoting within the last 30 days that we know, that number fluctuates in between a high 5 to probably 6 figure range, somewhere in there.
Right. Okay. How much money, just gross revenue, does ClickBank process a day?
Oh, I can't say those numbers. As a private company, we're supposed to hold that, but I could tell you it is quite a bit. Enough that
Okay.
what example I can tell you. Yep.
No, wait. Range between ridiculous and disgusting.
Well, I'd like to say disgusting because it makes it sound better, but I'll give you an example. So we are running enough on our mids on a daily basis that we process that we have clients that go from 0 sales to they'll do a fixed cart launch, and the next day they've hit between $2 to $3 million in sales that day without any additional reserves, without even a sniff or attention or a care from our banks and processors. So just to give you an idea, like the volume we'd run. Yeah.
It gets lost in the volume.
Yeah. So just giving it like to give that idea that we could have a 4 million spike in revenue in a day, and it does not attract the attention of our mids and processors. So that gives you kind of at least a sense of how much that we're processing, transacting, which means a lot of data for sure.
Yeah. Lots of disgusting data.
Yes. Dirty, disgusting data. And as an accounting major, I love it. I love to get inside it and play around and see what it tells me.
Oh, you're the spreadsheet guy, huh?
Yeah, I'm a spreadsheet guy for sure. So,
I look at a spreadsheet, it honestly just makes me numb. It's just, I can't look at a spreadsheet.
Oh man, it's one of my favorites. A good spreadsheet. But I always like to tell this, like stats will tell whatever truth you want them to. So numbers don't lie, but stats do. So you have to always be careful with that. Analytics is the process of taking numbers and turning them into a lie. So, but we just call it analytics, and everyone gets real excited about it.
I mean, but honestly, like, how many people do you know who are extremely successful in the business of marketing products and services that aren't obsessed about a particular set of numbers? I mean, they don't have to be obsessed about all the numbers, but there's like, I've got 3 or 4 different numbers that I always look at to know whether I'm doing well.
Yeah, well, I would say the big thing is analytics when you're dealing on the margins and you want to look at small trends, it requires a lot of data. Most companies are far too small to have the volume of data to really get into the nitty gritty and the deep analysis that I think you could get effective macro trends or micro trends, whatever you need, right? Oftentimes we're making jumps and leaps off tiny little data sets, which are super volatile and super unreliable to truly take something from. The sample sizes are too small. If we want to go use a sports analogy, as we look at college, the NFL starting, it's like you just drafted a player number 1 overall, and they've played 5 games. Now, those 5 games might have been the greatest thing you've ever seen before, but boy, you don't know if that's going to maintain. There's a lot of unknown. And it's similar when you're doing analytics on small data sets. And that's why we see a lot of entrepreneurs oftentimes get too caught up in the numbers, when in reality, it's like, what's your bottom line? How are you bringing customers in? How can you bring more in and do it profitably, right? Like those are simple questions. You could get way too many analytics for very simple answers to, I think, sometimes not basic problems, but big problems. Big problems normally have easy answers that are hard to execute.
Yeah. So speaking about numbers and analytics, let's have a smooth transition over to
just slide on it in, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna butter it up now. So the one thing, as somebody who has an affiliate program, well, several actually, and over the years I've had at least 10 of them, with a couple being very successful and most not very successful. There are a certain number of metrics that experienced affiliates tend to want to know. So in other words, like it's really hard for me to imagine anyone being able to attract a a high quality affiliate, somebody who can, one affiliate can really change your business.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some affiliates, like I had this affiliate run my offer 6, maybe 8 weeks ago. The guy brought in over $200,000 just on his own.
Yeah.
Like this is not life changing money for me at this point, but 10 years ago that would have been life changing.
Mm-hmm.
For some people that's definitely life changing money. So I guess in your experience, what have you noticed when it comes to metrics or numbers that you want to have in place, or that you want to know, or that affiliates that you're talking to always ask about?
Yeah. Well, and so first, nothing like answering a question with more questions. But one thing I'd tell you is it really does depend on a lot of information in terms of who are the affiliates, what are their traffic sources, what is your vertical, what is your offer, in terms of what numbers might matter. So the first answer to that question is really, do you know in your vertical what numbers are important? So say if you're running a webinar model or like a fixed cart launch, your opt-in rates and your opt-in conversion are really going to matter, because as an affiliate, most likely I know my ability to get leads. I probably have a pretty good idea of how many leads that I could send. So I really care from lead to conversion what that number is, because that's going to give me a good idea to say, how much money am I going to make off this launch? But if you're not doing a webinar, no one's going to care about those numbers. In fact, if say you're driving a supplement, the number one number that people care about is your average order value first. So if you're not over $200 in average order value, if I'm a media buying affiliate, I'm not even going to try your offer. If you can't offer me a minimum about a 120 CPA right now, most of the top media buyers are not going to even look or think about trying your offer unless you have a good relationship with them already. So the numbers could change quite a bit based on your vertical. But I would say, some core numbers you always need to know. You need to know your conversion rates. You need to know your EPCs, your earnings per click. And I would also know your average order value. Those are going to be key things. I've never seen somebody not want to know that information. So know those and then really understand what you need to know about them. So if you're saying EPCs, what is good in your range? What is a good number based on the types of traffic? So a good example here too is your email EPCs. Depending on where your email list is, sometimes those are going to be higher than what you have on your cold traffic. Sometimes they'll be substantially lower. It changes so much based on vertical. But for example, go back to health. So EPCs on email, if I'm seeing something around $150 to $2, fantastic. Really, really doing well. And sometimes you'll see that be quite a bit higher on a warmer list, to where I would want to expect to see something around $4 to $5 EPCs for that specific list. But email, that's going to be good. If you're doing paid media at lower volume, you should be closer to $2 to $3 on your EPC, because we know that's going to drop once scale hits. So there's some general barometers there, but we flip that over to spirituality. That vertical, if you're getting $1 EPC, you are crushing it, right? So the standard really changes. That AOV changes. It's going to drop a ton, but the conversion rates on those are probably quadruple, definitely more than double what you're getting in the health and fitness space. So, things could on supplements. So things could really change based on the dynamics of your offer. What I kind of flip around and really say that you need to ask yourself, for the affiliates you want, what are the numbers that they want to know? And if you don't understand it, ask them. It's a real big mistake, because oftentimes we assume what we know is what we know for everything, and it changes really, real fast. So I would tell you, if you're not sure, if you haven't talked to other affiliates in your vertical, you don't know what numbers they care about, and if yours are good or bad, you need to go ask somebody. Start off in your first affiliate conversation. What does success look like to you? What is a successful offer going to look like in terms of the amount of clicks that you expect to send? What's the number that you're going to measure and say this did good or bad with? Because that also changes from affiliate to affiliate. I know some people that only look at the revenue that it brought in. Others measure it purely on EPC. Others measure it just on, their ROAS that they had on their spend. So there's a lot of different factors that could change from affiliate to affiliate. So just ask the question. Don't assume, just ask, get clarification, and document it. So as soon as you get a send, you already know if you've done good or bad. You now go from being reactive and waiting to see what an affiliate thought to knowing that it was good or bad, and getting to be ahead of that interaction.